Delivered $33 million worth of arms to Israel last year. The U.S. is by far Israel's biggest supplier of arms, making up more than 65% of weapons imported to Tel Aviv between 2013 and 2023. In the same time period, Germany supplied almost 30% of Israel's arms. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has been a staunch supporter of Israel, saying it has a right to defend itself. And Italy has supplied almost 5% of Israel's weapons. Last year, European nations sold more than $360 million worth of weapons to Tel Aviv. Now let's bring in Nizar Farsakh in Washington, D.C., where he's a lecturer of international affairs at George Washington University. Thanks for speaking to us, Nizar. First, to the French president saying his country is no longer sending arms to Israel. How significant is that move in the context of these continuous attacks in Gaza and Lebanon? Will it make a difference?
It's significant because it's France. It's the first country to, like, a very major ally that's saying that. And it's that Macron specifically criticized the countries that are calling for a ceasefire, but then at the same time supplying weapons. So that's a very strong statement, basically blaming the U.S., since we know that the U.S. is the major supplier of weapons for Israel, and without which Israel could not continue the war. Whether it is going to have an impact or not really depends, because if just France stops sending weapons, it wouldn't impact Israel's capability to continue the war.
Do you think other countries will follow suit and heed these calls from Macron and possibly also stop sending arms?
Yes. The fact that France went ahead and did that, other countries can, it encourages other countries to do the same. Also because, in fact, the International Court has said as much. It said that since there is reasonable evidence that there might be a genocide happening, therefore countries must cease to send weapons to Israel until it's clear that there is no genocide. So the duty is before the genocide is committed. Just when there is a suspicion of a genocide being enacted, countries are supposed to suspend their weapons supplies.
This also feeds into the talk of Israel's growing isolation. But Nizar, is that just talk when world leaders call for a ceasefire, as they have for months? They've called for a ceasefire, they call for diplomacy, but trade with Israel continues and arms sales continue. So is it all just talk?
As far as governments are concerned, yes, it's not a lot of action. However, the people in those countries are putting pressure, and the fact that France publicly said that there needs to be an arms embargo allows people in other countries to have a bigger argument for doing the same. So it's not that the government are gonna by themselves do something; it's that the people are gonna put pressure on their governments to do that. And on the isolation side, it's going to make just regular companies be very wary about association with Israel because they do not want to get boycotted. So that's the hidden or less direct effect of the isolation.
The pressure of all of this is also feeding the fears of an all-out regional war in the Middle East. But judging by what we're seeing happening at the moment, are we not already there?
I would argue yes. Iran and Israel are attacking directly. The question is, do either side feel that there is little to lose, given how dangerous the situation is? That's when it becomes really critical. If one party feels that escalating is less costly than the status quo.
Nizar Farsakh, really appreciate your analysis and taking the time to speak to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.